Welcome. My name is Kathy Shaw and I'm one of the owner-operators of Valley View Farm in Auburn. We are a 75-acre mixed-use farm. I've been operating the farm full-time since 2009. We grow mixed crops, fruits, some fruits and vegetables. We have laying hens, we raise broiling chickens, turkeys for holiday market, geese and duck. My husband currently is enamored with pigs, so we're going into the hog operation. And I also raise goats and sheep for meat. We're standing inside of our high tunnel, which is 32 by 100, was installed last fall, and we've started cropping here since April. We raise in the high tunnel mostly leafy greens. We sell at farmers markets in the area. I sell in Falmouth, Cumberland, Freeport, and we're doing the Lewiston winter markets. This high tunnel is an amazing device that was purchased through a grant from NRCS. It's enabled us to start growing earlier. It's intensively managed. Whenever we get finished with a crop, we put another layer of compost on the soil, till it in, and start all over again. So this ground in here never lies fallow. It is continuously cropped so that we always have something coming, and we're planning on being able to harvest right straight through the winter. This high tunnel cannot have any power to it, so we can't operate fans in the greenhouse. Subsequently, we have to grow crops that will adapt to the growing conditions. And with this being a winter growing season now, the greens that we're growing are short day-length crops. So the spinach, the mesclun, all of these crops in here do better with lower temperatures and less light. Our soils here at Valley View Farm are heavy. They're a very heavy clay soil. So it's been a struggle over the years to try and grow any crops that need deep, well-drained growing conditions. So we amend our soil with compost here from the farm. And when we do our planting and tilling, we usually till once a year, and that's usually early in the spring, as early as we can get on the soil. We use, again, our compost that's tilled in, and to help protect the soils from erosion, we use this year burlap. We've used cardboard and newspaper. In the past, I've used the black spun-woven plastic, and we use that this year to grow our squashes and our pumpkins. We just have one large Kubota tractor that we use, and we usually borrow or rent a large tiller to till the soil. It's very expensive to buy farm equipment nowadays, and so we try and barter off with our neighbors to use what they've got for resources, and we also offer ours as well. So here for crops, we've got Brussels sprouts that we're harvesting, and we've been harvesting. We have parsnips that we will be digging in the springtime. And I've got kale that will grow all winter long. So when we cultivate in the springtime, we just bring a big rototiller in, and we rototill the soil once or twice. We go through and pick out the rocks that have come in, but primarily that one tilling is enough. And I'd like to go actually to a deep, deep mulch with no till, but at this time our practices have just been tilling once a year. We don't till in the fall because I don't want to have any problems with erosion over the winter time. We do cover crop with buckwheat and clovers. If we need to do any cultivation, we also have some small Troy-built rototillers that we'll run through back and forth. We've tried very hard to use mulches as much as we can to help preserve the moisture in the soil. These animals that we have in these pastures, we've got mini horses, a mini guard mule who keeps predators away. We also have goats that are Nubian, Angora, and Alpine crosses. We do have meat goats that are Boer crosses, and we also raise sheep. These animals help us maintain the overall health of the farm. One of the primary uses that we first got pigs on the farm was to help till some of our land. They are amazing rototillers. They will till up an area of land faster and more efficiently. They eat weed seeds, they eat insects, and they also contribute to the overall health of the soil with their manure. So we're standing here in front of our two greenhouse structures on the farm. The double-fanned greenhouse is where we grow our spring crops, and the greenhouse here with the single fan is where we keep all of our egg-producing laying hens. Both of these structures were erected in the late 90s. At that time I was heating them with oil, and we also inflated them. I found after a while that the inflators were not worth the amount of money that they were costing us to run. And ultimately, because of the heating oil problems, the way that the prices have risen in the past 5 years, I stopped heating them as well. So now what we use in place of heating is remay. And we only use the greenhouse for starting seedlings first thing in the spring. Probably we start about the 1st of March. We cover the seedlings with remay at night and uncover them. I've found that the plants are more vigorous, they're hardier, and because they get used to being kept at lower temperatures, we don't have problems with insects. They're very vigorous, and they make the transition into our gardens very well. I would like to try to start earlier and keep some plants growing through the winter time, but the heating cost is so prohibitive that we just can't justify the amount of money that it costs in energy consumption. Upwards of about 400 gallons a month. That's from December through March. In today's dollars, that's just too much. Our electricity on these now runs anywhere from $150 to $200 a month to operate the fans, and to just keep the freezers going that we keep all of our meat and produce in. I've stopped using oil completely on the farm. We just now heat the house with wood and do no heating of the outside structures. We rely on the animals' body heat to keep them warm. The house and the lower garages run us about $150 in the wintertime, up to over $200 in the summertime. Of primary concern to us is our fuel consumption. We load our market trucks 3 or 4 times a week to get to market, and our fuel costs can range anywhere from $150 to $200 a week in current gas prices. Another aspect of what we do here at the farm is forage. We visit the food pantries and some of the shelters, some of the local grocery stores also we have an agreement with to pick up their unused food that they would ordinarily have to dispose of. That takes up a considerable amount of not only manpowers, but can involve a significant amount of fuel cost. I feel very fortunate and very lucky to be doing the kind of work that I have done my whole life, but particularly in this day and age. We contribute significantly to the health of many, many families in this area with our pasture-raised, locally grown foods. My contacts expand every season, every week, every day that I'm at market. We look forward to the future of being able to provide even more food, better food, locally grown food for people so that they don't have to be dependent on going to the grocery stores. Some of the barriers that we need to look at changing is the perception that locally grown food is more expensive. It doesn't have to be. It's, I think, easier. We as farmers are trying to become more and more accessible. We operate year-round, and our farmers markets now are going year-round instead of just seasonally. I'd like to see agriculture become more of an importance in our society. I'd like to try and find people that would be interested in learning and helping out at the farm. Labor is a huge, huge issue here. My husband Joe and I pretty much run this place by ourselves with some satellite help, but it's very, very difficult. Green certification to me is an important tool because people are becoming more and more aware of their markets and where their consumer dollars are going. And every time that you make an improvement that people can be part of, it makes a difference. And green certification is one of those ideas for me.